So. All right, so we are now recording and I'm very excited to be here with you guys today for this intermediate Zoom class hosted by the Realtors Association of Broward, Palm Beaches, and St. Lucie County. And it's gonna be an interesting aspect to look at, and I think that everyone should know it from the host side of things when you guys are hosting the Zoom classes. There's a lot of features that Zoom does, and they're always moving it forward and trying to improve it. There's been a lot that's just changed over the last few months and such, which is good because they're trying to make it user friendly and easier for you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Okay. All right, and everyone can see my screen all right? I'm gonna pull up my chat. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to put any of your questions in the chat, or you can unmute yourselves as we go along. And I'm open for any questions, so. All right, I'm all set up here. Okay, so intermediate Zoom class. For those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Lucy McGuire, and I am with Arrow Title Services. We are located in Stuart, Florida, and our owner, Michelle Chart, has been in the industry for nearly 30 years, which plethora of information from her, and she is absolutely amazing. Definitely best boss I've ever had. And I started with her a few years back in the business development aspect of our company. And it's just been really cool to delve into the whole virtual aspect in the last year and a half, full force. I was always helping clients and such with social media and their needs with that, but even more so, it's become so important in the last year and a half with all of the different changes that we've gone through. So yes, my name is Lucy. I told you guys just a few minutes ago that I am born and raised in Jensen Beach, Florida. I am a local to this area, and it's been really cool to see all the changes that has happened. And since COVID, I have really delved into the virtual meeting world. I host multiple Zoom meetings. We do a market update Monday, every other Monday with local realtors, which you guys are always welcome to join us on. It's free. No, there's no strings attached or anything like that, but we talk about how the market is doing and updating people from the seller side of things. And we also have a Thursday's Top Tips in Real Estate that we do, which is with local realtors and lenders. And we talk about that. Those are all located on our YouTube channel, Arrow Title Services, where we have classes, information about title insurance. We have the Market Update Mondays and Thursdays Top Tips on there, and we stream live, which is an aspect we're going to talk about today, streaming live from Zoom, which is a very good aspect to keep in mind for your business to get information out to people. So been very well versed in social media, and if you guys ever have any questions, I'm always here for you. And if you guys were here a few weeks ago, then you saw this page, and I always say that the one thing in life that is constant is change. So the fact that you guys are on here today and willing to learn more about the system of Zoom means you're already ahead of it, because the change is always happening. Us being in real estate, change is always happening on a daily basis. So it's good to be at the forefront of things and knowing how to maneuver in this especially now virtual world. So internet is taking the world by storm, along with video, as you guys know. It is a huge aspect in everybody's business. If you guys don't have a YouTube channel as well, that's a very big aspect to keep in mind, and you can work with Zoom and YouTube as well. So this class today with the intermediate level, we are going to talk about the aspect of like where I am on the host side of things. So how to host on Zoom, sharing your screen, inviting people, all the little facets of the back end aspects, streaming live, recording your meetings, polling participants, remote control access. Like there's a million and one things that you can do, and we're going to touch on them. Again, if you guys have any questions as we go along through this, please do not fret to go ahead and stop me so that I can answer. Yolanda, you said you forgot how to upload your own pictures. Do you mean to the chat? go ahead and let me know if that's what you mean or not. Yeah, so we're going to talk about all those aspects. And again, if you guys have questions throughout it, just feel free to stop me at any point. You can unmute or raise your hand or put something in the chat for me. So if you are hosting a meeting, I highly, I would never host a meeting from my phone. Definitely recommend being on your computer for it, because there are so many features that are available on the computer, and it's going to be a lot easier to navigate. Plus, you want to be able to see every person that is in the facet of what you're trying to host at that point, whether you're hosting multiple people and talking about a certain subject, or just having that one person. And there's a lot of features that come with that, and it's easier to manage. So that's what we're going to talk about today from the computer side of things, how you're hosting these, because that's the only way that I suggest. So I'm going to go back to navigating the screen. We talked about this in the intermediate or in the basics Zoom, but I just want you guys to see a little bit of it here. So we talked about this aspect, the security, participation, the polls, the chat, screen share, and all of that, those aspects that are shown on the host level. Now, when you are looking at this, you're going to see some different options. You'll see some of the same that you'll see as the person on the audience side of things, but there will be some additional things. So you'll have the security option, which when you click on the security option, this is another aspect that you want to keep in mind. You can lock the meeting. You can enable a waiting room if you haven't already had a waiting room. You can hide people's profile pictures. You can also click on here to allow participants to share their screen, chat, rename themselves, et cetera, et cetera. So if anybody is ever asking you, because for instance, whenever I am on a meeting, if you're the host of it and someone's saying, oh, I don't know how to rename myself, or, oh, I don't know how to share my screen, or it's giving me an error message, it's from the host side almost always. So navigating through that, or they might be getting an error message if you haven't allowed them a specific thing, depending on how you set up your meeting. So I always like to just make sure it's all checked, because just so that they don't get into any issues unless it's like a user error. But you are able to rename them if you want to, and you want to make sure that they can share their screen if there's especially if you're working with a client and they want to share something with you or whatever it might be on whatever paperwork that they have. So that's an aspect. The participants, which we went over in the intro Zoom and intro to Zoom. You can do polls, which we're going to talk about later. The share screen aspect we're going to talk about, and then the recording. So they're just being aware of this bar that's at the bottom where you'll be able to find everything. That share screen button as well, if you click on the little arrow right here, you'll see this is one of the easier ways to help if your participants ever saying, oh, I can't share, or it's telling me that you're not allowing me to share. This is one of the easier ways to click on this. It says one participant can share at a time. If you just click on multiple participants can share simultaneously, it will allow them to start sharing. So if you ever come across that, that's an easy fix for it. All right. And then, okay, so recording meetings. There's two different ways that you record meetings. And you obviously, if you're recording these meetings and you want to put them somewhere, whatever it might be, depending on how you want to share those videos, you're going to want to think about the different aspects that there are available. So there's two different ways. You can record on the cloud, which is the Zoom cloud that they provide to you. It does give you limited storage. It is easy to share. It's really nice actually, because on the Zoom platform, you can see the comments as they come in and everything like that. You can see how the screen is shared, and it's very easy to share afterwards. So if you record on the cloud of Zoom, they'll send you an email afterwards with a link and the password. They put a password on it, and then you can easily share that out to whoever you're working with. And it really does show up nicely on the little, you can go to Zoom on the back end of things and see how it's set up, and it's very it's in their portal. So that's an easy way to do it and not have to worry about the storage and such like that. or you can record and put it onto your computer. So if you put it onto your personal storage of your computer, it can be harder to share because it's a larger file. And it will ask you after you are done with the meeting, it will ask like, where do you want it saved? And it will be processing the video to add it to your computer. And it will actually show up in multiple formats. So you can do like an audio only, you can do a video only, or you can do the video and audio, which is the Zoom aspect. And that always downloads. It's like Zoom_IO is the actual full blown video of like recording and everything. And then you can always take those and download, like if they're downloaded on a computer, you can put them to YouTube or whatever it might be by finding the file. And that's an easy way. The only thing is that you have to be mindful of when you're recording on the Zoom, because you don't, like, for instance, when I just started this meeting, I stopped the recording. I did automatic recording, but I stopped it because I didn't want the however many minutes, the 5-10 minutes of us just kind of chatting being on the recording, because I'm going to post it directly to YouTube for that person. And hold on. Jerry would like to name himself Brad Pitt. Can the recording be stored on G Drive and then accessed via a link? You can yes. So if you record it onto your computer, and you'd have to put it onto your computer first. There's only the two options that it gives you. So you can put it onto your computer, and then you can transfer that file into your Google Drive and share it via a link. But that's kind of like multiple steps that you could pretty much just do through Zoom, unless the Zoom doesn't have enough storage for you. And I can show you guys really, if you guys want, I can show you really quick on the back end what it looks like from Zoom, like what it looks like. So just let me know if you want me to go to that really quick, and I can pull that up in 2 seconds. So that you can, how much time can be stored on Zoom. It gives you a certain amount of, here, I'll actually just show you guys. It gives you a certain amount of storage capacity. It's like a gigabyte or so. So when you go to your Zoom account and you're looking on the side here, you can see recordings. And you can see here, you can see your local recordings, and you can see your cloud recordings. And your cloud recordings, when you click on them, you can click on here, and then it will even allow you to download it from here if you want, or you can copy the shareable link. And the shareable link will look like this. So this is showing you everything that's going on, and people are able to, trying to see. Oh, this was, okay, let me go back on this. This is not a good example. So for instance here, you can click on this, and this is what the shareable aspect would look like. So you'd be able to see all the different aspects of the chat and everything, and you'd be able, this is what they would see, the chat messages, they'd be able to download it, they'd be able to see the different, watch through it and see who's speaking, and et cetera, et cetera. So it does look pretty nice on the aspect of Zoom that it allows you to record, and then you can even see who viewed it, like how many views this month, the chat file, the audio file, the shared screen with speaker view file. So it's pretty aspect. So is this a premium account? Is a premium account required for storage? That's a good question. Let's see, I can go right here. So the free personal meetings, well, yeah, it probably is going to be a premium feature because I have the paid account. So that with that paid account, it only gives you the certain amount of storage available. So for instance here, like this isn't what I have, but let's say it says 1 GB cloud recording per license, and it goes up from there. So these are just, this is random Zoom meetings and such like that. I just clicked on this, but yeah, it would be in those aspects. So build monthly here. So it, for the for small teams, it's 1 GB cloud recording. That makes sense. So Yolanda, we're going to talk about that a little bit later with the background, so don't worry about that. Okay. So those are the two options, and that's what it will look like. And I'll go back to presenting on here. Are there any other questions about recording on the computer versus on the cloud? No? Okay. So there's kind of pluses and minuses to all of it. So when you go to record your meetings, if you haven't set your settings to record it automatically, which we're going to kind of talk about later, you can go to the bottom of your screen and navigate, and you'd see right next to the share screen button, which is always going to be in green. You can see the record button, and this is where you can select record on this computer or record to the cloud. So that's where you choose. And then once you do it, it will show you in the corner, in the top right corner, it'll say recording. And now Zoom actually they literally just started this in the last week or so. I don't know if you guys heard it in the beginning where it says, this meeting is now being recorded. And then like, as soon as you stop it, it's like, this meeting is now not being recorded or whatever it says. So that's a new aspect to let people know that this is a recorded meeting, I guess for their permission's sake, because they're being notified. So they are doing a lot of security aspects to make sure that people are comfortable with what they're doing so they can't get in trouble. So that is the recording the meetings in a nutshell. So the recording of the meetings can be done for so many aspects. You can put them on your YouTube, you can share them with clients, whatever it might be, because it's actually a great feature to be able to record and share that with your clients. There's another way. I'll just throw this out there. If you have a YouTube channel and you have a client that you're working with and you record it, you can actually download that video, upload it to your YouTube channel, make it an unlisted video for them so that it's not public to everyone, but then you can then share that video with your client and it like directs them to your YouTube channel where, you can hopefully get them to subscribe or whatever, to like also another point of contact for them. So just an idea there. You can also see when they viewed it and how many minutes they viewed it for. Like that's a whole nother thing with YouTube, but just a thought like on the aspect of recording. Moving on to the muting and unmuting of participants when this is like a huge aspect. Sometimes people don't realize that they're unmuted. And just being you as a host of the Zoom, like you have to be on top of it and understand, like, because you don't want there to be feedback or whatever it might be. And, sometimes people like will go and they'll be like, oh, mute yourself, you're on mute or whatever it might be. So having this feature as the host is very beneficial to mute people and to help them unmute. So you can go to the participants list and you can click, you'll see the little slash through the microphone. If that's not slashed through, then that means that person is not on mute. If there is sound coming out of their microphone, there will be like the little mic will kind of go up and down with gray. So you can see that there is feedback coming from them and you can just click on that right there and it will mute them. Now, you can also, if you're starting a meeting and everything like that, like let's say you have a meeting with your team or something like that, and everybody's talking ahead of time and you're like, okay, hey, we're gonna get this meeting started. I'm gonna mute everyone, but don't worry, you'll be able to unmute yourselves. Then you can go to the bottom and click mute all so that it just automatically mutes everyone. And you don't have to worry about like clicking through to each and every person that's unmuted. So that's a great way to kind of like say, stop, we're starting, pay attention now or whatever it might be if there's like chatter beforehand. And then, of course, there's all these other options that you can utilize as well. Like you can make them a host of it. If you want to take away the host abilities of yourself, you can make someone else a host, which I don't recommend doing unless for some reason you're taking a back seat to it all and they are the sole host. If you need help hosting, if you have like a partner or something like that, and you want them to help host with the meeting or whatever it might be that you're doing, you can make them a co-host, and that would also be available underneath the options option of that person. And you can make them a co-host, and you can even allow individuals to record, like you can click allow to record. This is where you can rename them. So if you want to rename someone, you can click rename. And then you can also put them back in the waiting room, or you can remove them, or you can report them, etc., or you can chat with them directly. So there's a lot of aspects that it allows just in those features of the participants when you click on them individually. So those are the important aspects of like muting and unmuting people. I do want to say one aspect as well too. When, let's say someone is on mute and they are struggling with Zoom for whatever reason, you can actually click on, like, let's say it's red like this, and they're like, I can't find, or, well, obviously you can't hear them because they're muted, but like, let's say they're typing in the chat, like, hey, I can't figure it out or whatever it might be. You can actually click on this button and it will say ask participant to unmute, and you can click that, you click yes, and it will actually notify that person and say, hey, the host would like you to unmute your mic, and it kind of like helps them unmute themselves. So that might be a feature that you want to keep in mind in case someone's struggling with that. Highlighting someone's screen. I think that this is a really big aspect that a lot of people don't realize, especially when they're in meetings with lots of people. If you, and this is important as well when you're recording too, that when you're recording, what you're recording, it's going to record everybody in the audience or whatever it might be, everybody who's on the Zoom. But if you want the recording to be whoever is speaking, there's a speaker option, but highlighting someone's screen will forcibly make everyone's screen show that person. So I can show you an example of that in 2 seconds, but you'll see here how to actually highlight someone's screen is you go to the participants list, and then you have the option to spotlight for everyone. And when you do that, every participant then spotlights that person, and they're shown big on their screen automatically, so that the attention drives to them. So that's always good to make sure that people aren't distracted with people, like, sometimes people are on Zoom and they're like throwing their phone all over the place or whatever, and it's like very distracting. Making sure that you're spotlighting whoever's on the speaker speaking for you is a good aspect to keep in mind. And again, these are some other options that you have, like the renaming, putting in waiting room, or removing them. Another option that you can get all of these features with as well is when you go to the ... on the side, on the top right corner of their screen, or their screen, like the little bubble. So you see that there's John Doe right over here. There's a little ask to unmute button there. There's also the ... and you can ask to unmute there. You can stop their video for them. You can rename them. You can spotlight for everyone, or you can make them a host, make them a co-host. You can have all of these aspects also available right here from the ... So you don't even need to go into the participants list if you don't want to. So there's 2 places to be able to find that. Are you using the cursor highlighter 2.2 that the 2 add-ons to use it? I'm sorry. Do you mean this little blue dot? I'm a little confused by your question. This blue dot is because I'm using Canva, and I'm using the presentation version on Canva, which I love Canva. Canva, highly recommend. On Canva all the time. So because I'm on Canva, when I go into presentation mode, yeah, it automatically does this little nice blue dot for me so you guys can see where I'm pointing. Cool, great. Alrighty, so yeah, so those are the aspects of getting to, and whether you're in the participants list or on their screen. Are there any questions so far? Or it's just highlighting someone's screen. Okay, and I'll show you a quick example of that too, so you guys can see it. So right now I've highlighted my screen. I can remove my spotlight, and let's say I'm gonna highlight Nancy's beautiful self. So I'm gonna spotlight Nancy, and now everybody's forced to see Nancy's beautiful face on the recording. So then I can remove her spotlight and make a gallery view again, and I'll re-spotlight myself. So those are the spotlighting options. So you'll kind of see how it changes your screen automatically to force on onto that person. So I'll go back to sharing my screen now. Okay. All right. So scheduling a meeting. Oh, I actually have to go, let's see. All right. So scheduling a meeting on Zoom. So we're going to go back to our Zoom. We're going to go to our account. And there's a way to do this as well through the Zoom portal that you've downloaded probably onto your computer, which is easy to do as well. It's very similar. There's a lot more features that you'll get on the back end of things. So right here, you can go to your meetings on the left page. Oh, hold on, we got a question. Once a person is spotlighted, can we view manually change? Yes, yes. So that is true. Once a person is spotlighted, an individual, like if you didn't want to see that person's face be huge on your screen, you can manually go back and change it to gallery view if you want to. So yeah, no, you're right. But yeah, so it's I think that it really depends on what you're trying to view. If you're the host of it, I do that because if I'm the host and I'm spotlighting someone's screen, I want to know that everybody else is being spotlighted for that screen. But if I'm the host, I'm saying, okay, hey, I want to go back to gallery view so that I can see everybody else and be able to manage the Zoom better. Because in case someone looks confused or whatever it might be. So yeah, that's in the top right. And we talked about that as well in the intro to Zoom on how to change the perspective speaker view and the gallery view. Okay, so going back to the meetings. So when you're scheduling a meeting, you'll go right here, schedule a meeting, underneath your meetings tab on Zoom. And my internet's acting really slow for some reason. Give me 2 seconds. All right, well, sorry about the little delay. I don't know exactly where I ended up leaving off exactly, but pretty much just the highlighting of someone's screen is a capability that you're able to do. And then if there's any other questions about highlighting a screen, just let me know in the chat. So the next portion that I was starting to talk about that you guys probably got cut off on me talking about was scheduling a meeting. So let me go ahead and you're finished your own scheduling. Okay, cool. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen. Thank you for your patience. All righty. Okay, so scheduling a meeting. So going to the Zoom aspect of going to zoom.us, then you go to your account and then you click on meetings. When you are on the meetings aspect, you will go to schedule a meeting right here in the corner. So there's a lot of aspects that you can do through this. You can also do this through the portal of the Zoom that you might have downloaded onto your computer. So when you go into the topic, you can see here that you can name your topic of your Zoom, whatever that is. You can describe, you can do a description of it. You can click when and you can select a time, or you can even create a reoccurring meeting that happens a certain day every month or every day, or you can also click no fixed time so that you can create a meeting that you can always go back into or whatever it might be for your team or whatever it might be, or you can create a fixed time around it if you want. So there's a few different options that you can do with a reoccurring meeting aspect and the duration and such. The registration aspect, if you guys, like for instance, how I hosted this and everything with the Zoom, so you can actually click registration, and that's where, the link that you guys clicked on, where it forces people to register so you can see who registers, and it will automatically send them out all the information just like you guys got in your email and such. This is the section in which you would do that, where you'd click registration and you click registration required, and then afterwards, once you create that meeting, it will give you that, you can copy the invitation and it will give you the registration link that has its own page. And there's a way to actually customize that entire page to make it what you want, which I can show you an example of. So the meeting ID. So some people have like questions, like you could I just do generate automatically. The personal meeting ID, that is always going to be your meeting ID no matter what. Like that is if you just want to start a random meeting and like send someone to it, you can do that. But I don't recommend doing that, just because if you do everything underneath your personal meeting ID, then if someone has a login to that, they can just log in at any time. And then you could be like talking to someone else and they could randomly come in. So the easier way is just to generate automatically every single time you do it. And then you can create your own passcode. This is where you can enable the waiting room or not. I don't use waiting rooms because I think it's, if you're in the middle of a presentation or whatever it might be and people want to join in, sometimes it can be thought of as a disruption and they want to keep them in a waiting room. But if you're not looking at the participants list and like actively letting people in, then you could miss someone and they could be waiting there for a while, waiting for you to let them into the room. So I just don't even deal with it. I just don't put a waiting room. You can always enable it afterwards, as you guys saw earlier in this video. And then you can require authentication to join if you want. Zoom has done just a lot to make sure that they have every security aspect done, because in the beginning of Zoom, when there was such a huge influx of people coming onto it, there were some people that were like trolling or hacking into, and it was just crazy. So here's where you can select the video. You can say whether you want your video to be on, or if you want your participants' video to automatically be off or not. So those are the options that you click there. Audio, I just put both in case they're dialing in by telephone or computer audio. And then these are some other meeting options where you can allow participants to join at any time. You can mute them upon entry if it's something that you're going to start off like right at a certain time. You can mute them upon entry if you don't want them to kind of have access to chatting and such. This is where you can automatically record the meeting. So you can select the aspect here, and you can automatically record it, and then it gives you the option to choose on the local computer or in the cloud. So you can choose that here, and then you won't have to worry about starting the recording. But again, I recommend, like, once you get into the meeting, if there's going to be a time of 5 minutes, 10 minutes before you start, you can just go to the top left corner. It'll tell you as soon as you get in there, this meeting is now being recorded, and you can just pause it. And then once you're ready to start again, just remember to unpause it and then continue your video if it's something that you're going to share going forward, like on your YouTube channel or something like that. So, so yeah, those are pretty much the basics of actually scheduling it. And when you get into your meetings, like once you actually create a meeting, let's see. Let me create a sample one, and then I can show you some aspects. Here, let me see if I can do it on this one. So you can see here, this is the meeting that we're on right now, where it says the topic is the intermediate Zoom class. I put in the description all the different aspects that we have here that we're going to be talking about. It gives you the option to add it to your calendar. It tells you the meeting ID. This is where you can copy the invitation, and it will show you the registration aspect. If you don't have registration on there, then it will just show you the regular invitation link that you copy and paste that everybody should be pretty familiar with. And it shows you some of the aspects. So there's a lot more that you can go into here as well. So with the registration, if you have registration going on, you'll be able to see how many registrants there were for that class. And then you can go ahead and view them, and you can see when they registered and everything like that. And you can even go ahead and like click this and resend out the confirmation email, or if anybody says they didn't get it, you can resend it to them. I usually do that. You guys probably got that right before the class, because I like to remind people like, hey, this meeting is coming up, so that they don't say, oh, I registered for this a week ago and they forgot the link, whatever it might be. So that's a good aspect to keep in mind. There's email settings, so you can actually create yourself as the email contact so that people, when they're getting those emails, they're coming from you. There's even a branding aspect that you can do to it. When you guys went to the registration page, you saw our logo and everything like that. You can upload even a banner to that if you want to get real fancy, or if you've seen those Zoom registrations where you can do that. We do that on some of our other classes, like the bigger classes that we do. And then you can add your logo or whatever it might be. Like, it depends on this. This could actually be a very professional aspect that you can add to your business if you want to create something with a client. If you're doing like a virtual client, you can even create this landing page for them and be like personalized. You can make like a banner, and it tells you the suggested dimensions and everything, where you can be like, oh, you know, listing presentation for the Johnson family or whatever. And you can create a banner that says that with your logo on it, and then they can register for it or whatever it might be. And that might look a little like you've got some stuff going on. Can you go back and show reminder? Oh, yes. So registration, it's under. So after you've created the event, you can go back to the right, down to the bottom, where you can click registration, and then it says manage registrants, and it shows you how many people registered. And then you go to the view tab, or the view link right here. And then you're able to go to see everybody and their email addresses and their registrants. And then you can click right here to select all, or you can click individual names, and then you can resend the confirmation email at the bottom here. Good with that, Nancy? Okay, so there's the branding, and then there's the poll option. So I was talking about the poll option that you guys saw at the bottom of the screen, that you can go ahead and poll your audience as well. So for instance, you can add a poll, and then you can create a title for the poll. You could be like, did you enjoy this class? ? And then you can just say, you know, that's a prompt for you. Did you yes, no, maybe. Okay, save, add question. So I added that question to the polling option, and then I'll be able to go ahead and do this in the Zoom meeting. It may not work because I am already, actually it does. So it automatically adds it in there. So you can do a poll for your audience there. And so for instance, I can go ahead and stop sharing there, and I can actually go ahead and click on my poll option, and I can launch the poll for you guys. And you can see that there. And then everybody, you can see in real time what people are saying, like yes, no, maybe, et cetera, et cetera. So that's an aspect that you can utilize. You can end the polling right there. For instance, I ended it, and then I can even share the results with you guys so you guys can see the results if you want to, or you could stop sharing it. It's all right there for you. And you can even download those results. So it's a good aspect to keep in mind. You can add as many polls as you like, and that's a great way to also be able to do follow-up and such. Thanks, Jerry. All right, let me go back to sharing my screen really quick, because there's a few more things that I want to share with you guys. And cool. All right. So there's also the live streaming aspect, which is what we're about to go right into actually anyways. There's two ways to stream live onto Facebook. And I know there was like a bit of time that got cut out because of my technical issues, but we can go through one. And if you guys want to see the other, you'll just let me know and we can go through that as well. So I'll start off with the aspect of streaming live to Facebook in real time. There is streaming to Facebook, and then there is scheduling a stream to Facebook from Zoom, which are both aspects that I utilize all the time. Live video on Facebook is very important. If you can ever go live on Facebook, do it. Video, they are putting so much pressure on that because people like that authenticity. People like the live video. They notify more people when you do that. They notify people when you schedule it and everything like that. So there's a lot of benefits to doing that if you feel comfortable doing so. So streaming live to Facebook, if you are doing it just from you, like, let's say you start a Zoom call and like, let's say I'm starting this Zoom call and I'm like, oh, hey, I'm going to stream this live to Facebook, guys. And I'm doing it like on the fly in the moment. So on the bottom with your registration and everything like that, or not your registration, as to say, your navigation bar, you go to where it says more ... and then you click on live on Facebook. So when you click on that live on Facebook button, there's a couple of options that you see here: live on Facebook, live on YouTube, live on custom live streaming service, which is if you decide to schedule it, which we'll go into in a moment if you guys want to. But the live on Facebook is the most important because not everybody has a YouTube channel, but everyone should have a business Facebook page on here as being a realtor. So streaming live there. When you click on that button, stream on Facebook, it will pop up your browser and it will say Zoom is requesting access to your name and profile picture. You can continue as yourself. You would click continue as Nancy or Victoria or whatever. You click that and then it will ask you, it would like to post on your behalf. It'll go through all of these aspects. You can click whether you want it to see who sees Zoom posts on your timeline, public, friends. I would put public if you plan to stream a lot of business stuff. And then you click OK. And then it will bring you to a landing page that says live stream Zoom meeting to Facebook Live. Now, guys, I can't even tell you how much easier they've made this. A few months ago, it used to be a lot more in-depth and technical. They've made it very easy. So yay for Zoom. Good job, Zoom. So it pretty much tells you connected. It shows you that's connected to me. You can name the meeting, Zoom meeting title on Facebook. So you name it, whatever it might be. You can do the Zoom meeting description. What it actually did, which was, I thought, very cool that they changed this. They automatically put, for this specific thing that I was sharing here, the title and description that I put into my Zoom meeting on Zoom. So if I was streaming this one, the Zoom intermediate class, then it would have showed all those aspects and everything that we were going over. And that would have streamed live or it would have automatically put that as a description, but you can edit it. So that's a nice aspect that they changed, because before you kind of had to do everything right there. And it was a very time consuming process to be like, hey, can you guys all hold on while I'm doing all this? But it still takes a few minutes to be able to get through this. Then you have a couple of options. You can choose where to post your Zoom meeting and then who can see it publicly. So it's automatically going to share to your own timeline if you don't change it. So when you click on this, you can see you have the option to share on your own timeline. You can share to your page, or you can share to a group. When you click share to your page, which I would highly recommend if you have a business Facebook page, which you should, and then selecting your business name or whatever it is, your business page that you want it to stream to. And then once you select that, so you'll say share to your page, then you'll select your page, whatever that is, then you'll click go live, and then you'll see this aspect right here, the Zoom to Facebook Live preparing for live stream preview. When you click on that, it's preparing. You want to click back into your Zoom meeting, because as soon as you see at the top left corner, live on Facebook, it'll tell you live on Facebook. And then that's when or you say, oh, whatever you're talking about, like, hey, we're live on Facebook now, we're talking about yada, okay? So that's when you're live, is when it shows you. And this is what it looks like. So in the top left corner, you'll see live on Facebook, meeting is now streaming live, and it will notify you there. So you want to make sure you're paying attention to your Zoom right after you click that go live button. And then it'll stay there until you're not live anymore. And you can actually go to the bottom again to your navigation bar and click more. And then you can stop the live stream. So you don't have to end your meeting to stop the live stream. And then this will disappear in the corner and you won't be live anymore. And you can say, hey, everyone, you can all breathe now because we're not live. So Yeah, so that's how you stop the live streaming on Facebook. And that is how you go from start to finish to streaming onto Facebook in the moment, and then stopping that live. So can you stream to more than one location at once? No, you cannot. Not as of right now with Zoom. So it is a bummer, but there is, so someone just asked, can you stream more to more than one location? There's another feature that I use for that. It's not Zoom. If you want, yes, there you go. StreamYard, here I come. Exactly. I use StreamYard for our market update Mondays now, actually. So because I want to stream that live to our YouTube and our Facebook page at the same time. And it's a great feature, but StreamYard doesn't allow like virtual backgrounds, which is a branding opportunity and all this stuff. So what's nice though is that if you, oh, it does now? It offers, oh, I didn't know that they offered backgrounds now. Maybe they just changed that. Oh, that's cool. So yeah, there's that aspect and everything with that. And I mean, in the actual, it doesn't matter. We could talk later, but Tina, I don't want to take up too much time, get off guard with the whole StreamYard. But anyways, does anybody want to see the aspect again? I know we're getting close to the time here, where you're scheduling a live stream. Do you guys have interest in seeing that, or is that something you guys want to reach out to me directly about? Because there's a few more things I want to go through before the end of this. So you guys go ahead and message in the chat or unmute yourself and let me know if you care about hearing about how to schedule a live stream on Facebook. It's a lot. It's more complicated. It's like an advanced. All right. So I don't see anybody messaging yes. So I'll skip over that for now. And if any, as you guys rewatch this video and everything, if you guys want to, they're literally changing it all the time with scheduling a live stream on Facebook. It's actually very irritating because Facebook keeps updating itself and it's like, oh, we're changing this, we're moving it here. And I'm like, can you stop? Because I actually did a video on our YouTube channel about how to stream a live stream to Facebook, like how to schedule a stream, but it's completely different now. Like it's 1,000% different. So if you guys want any information on that, you can feel free to reach out to me directly and I will absolutely help you with that as you get comfortable with just streaming live on Facebook in general from the feature, but at least they've made that easier now. So it's a lot easier. So we will, I will just say really quick, the benefits to scheduling a Facebook Live event is that you can set it up ahead of time and it's less consuming, time consuming in the moment. Your followers on your page will get notified of your scheduled live stream. They'll get notified when you post it and 20 minutes before your stream actually starts, which is nice because, I mean, we all want as much traction as possible on those. You can also apply a thumbnail to the video as well. So it will show you, you could put whatever on there. You can put your face, you can say whatever topic you're talking about. This was like one spooky edition of our Thursday's top tips of real estate we did last year. So it's good to be able to put that in. Those are the benefits of it, just so that you know. Okay, moving right along. Remote control. This is a really cool aspect that Zoom offers that is something that a lot of people don't know. You can actually control the screen of someone else sharing something. So it kind of sounds creepy too, but they have to give you permission. So it's not super creepy. So when you are sharing, when they are sharing their screen, you as the host, right? You are, you'll be able to see this at the top so it's saying they are controlling they have their screen up there, and then at the top you'll see the sharing screen options of all the things that it's like the navigation bar that would normally be at the bottom goes to the top, and it shows this green bar that shows who's sharing. There's a button that you can select that says remote control. You click on that button and you can request remote control access. What happens then is they get a notification that says the host or Lucy would like to control your screen. They say yes, and then you then can use their shared screen. So whatever's on their computer, like it's on your computer, which is really cool, actually. I've helped a lot of people before, like social media wise or whatever it might be. We do like a online meeting, and then I'm like, okay, share your screen so I can see what's going on. And then I just get remote control access, and I'm trying to help them, guide them along. And then they can at any point take that remote, like they can click on them and use their mouse. They still have control of their screen. They don't give up all power of it or anything like that. So you guys can both be working on the same screen at the same time, which is kind of cool. So that is an aspect I wanted to tell you guys about from the hosting side of things, which is really nice to be able to help people out. You can use it for a variety of different things. So yeah, I was just talking about here, like you can control your clients or a new agent screen when you're showing them, teaching them new systems, kind of going throughout and showing them how they can kind of navigate, or you can allow your clients to control your screen if they want to navigate something on your screen as well. So there's some cool aspects of that you can mess around with in that aspect. We talked about this a little bit earlier with the waiting room. Are there any other questions on the remote control? Did you guys know about the remote control? I'm curious, actually. No? Yeah, it's pretty cool. Cool aspect. All right. So waiting room we talked about. Again, pluses and minuses of it. It's going to show up in your participants list, the different people in the waiting room, and it will say let in or whatever it might be, and you just click that button. I don't personally use waiting rooms. Again, I told you guys that earlier, so that's up to you guys' discretion, but I showed you where you can allow that in the Zoom meeting earlier anyways. So settings on your Zoom account. There is a lot of settings that you can go through on your Zoom account, and I'm going to show you guys those really quick so that you guys can see them. So on the left bar of your zoom.us.com account, you go to your settings, and it's going to show you, you have these different tabs at the top. So you can go to meeting, and there is a bunch of settings, okay? Lots of settings. A lot of times when people have issues, they are because of your settings that are automatically done or whatever it might be. So just reading kind of through them, it describes what each of the settings does. But for instance here, if your Zoom meetings are automatically creating a waiting room, that's in your settings here. So you can go ahead and click here too, like when participants join a meeting, place them in a waiting room. You can make that automatic, or you can just turn it off. I just turn it off so I never have to think about the waiting room again. So if you don't want to have to continually like automatically turn it off or whatever it might be, that's an aspect to, that you can do in your settings. You can do the meeting passcode for all your meetings. You can require a passcode joining by phone. So there's all these little aspects that you can utilize with the rooms. And it's showing you right here, the subsections like security, scheduling a meeting. So you can kind of jump around in the settings here. The host video, like for me, I always have the host video on and the participant video on. So I do that automatically. This saves a lot of time for like when I'm just automatically, I'm never going to want the set. I shouldn't say never. Majority of my meetings that I do, I want those on. So it's something that I don't have to think about unless I'm doing another specific type of meeting. And then you can even allow participants to join before host, maybe 5 minutes before start time or whatever it might be. If you want to automatically put this on 10 minutes, 15 minutes, if you don't want them to join like crazy times ahead of time. So those are some of the aspects there. You can, upcoming meeting reminder, you can remind yourself of meetings that will show up on your desktop, on your Zoom if you want. Here are some of the meeting basics aspects like the chat, allowing meeting participants to send messages visible to all participants. You can allow the private chat for people. I've heard some people, they're in Zoom meetings and they're like, oh, well, it's not allowing me to private chat anyone. I can only do a public message. This is again, something in the settings. So you can change that. You can allow people to have the private conversations or whatever, or you can not allow it if for some reason you don't want them to talk. So that's an aspect in there. You can auto save your chats if you want, so that they are automatically saved when you're just when you have them in your file and everything like that. So you don't have to go to the save chat box, which is something that we talked about in our Zoom basics class. So that's an aspect to keep in mind. Allowing the file transfer that we talked about. The co-host ability, if it's not letting you see who's your co-host, or not allowing you to select a co-host, that is in the backend settings. You have to say, hey, I want to be allowed to have a co-host. Even the polls, like if the polls aren't showing up for you, you can allow them in your meetings here. And yeah, so there's just a bunch of different aspects in here. The remote control, if the remote control isn't showing for you, you can allow it in here as well. The toggling on and off of this. And there's just a million one things that you can do. So I just kind of wanted to show you guys this. There's a bunch of aspects like breakout rooms that you can allow. I don't do them for my classes, so I don't have them set up on this, but it is an aspect that you can do through Zoom with the breakout rooms. As you can see, this is like meetings advanced, the closed captioning if you want that, saving the captions, et cetera, et cetera. The virtual backgrounds, you can allow the use of videos as your virtual background, which we're going to get into, but just saving chats does it require a premium account, correct? Yes, most likely it does, Jerry. There's a lot of Zoom is in it to make money, okay? Every business is in it to make money. They give you very limited options with the free version of Zoom. You're not even allowed to be on a Zoom for more than 40 minutes, like on a call. If you are utilizing Zoom for your business in multiple aspects, I highly recommend having the premium account just so that you're not limited, because you never want to, especially if you're meeting with clients, you never want to feel rushed with your client. If they need more time than 40 minutes, you don't want to be like, oh, sorry, gotta go. Like, you know, we only have 40 minutes. So I recommend having the premium account so that you can have your unlimited meetings and such like that and don't have to feel rushed. You can also do video filters, et cetera, et cetera. So there's like a lot of aspects on here. There's also, you know, that's up to you, Jerry. There are two things that I spend a lot of time on that I think are very worth the bang for their buck, for like what, 12, 13 bucks a month. That is Canva and that is Zoom. Those are two things I use all the time that I pay for that are worth my money. But that's what I'm using it for. So it's completely personal to you, whether that's something that you want to invest in as a business aspect. And this is also where like the live streaming of meetings go. Like if you want to, this is important. So if you want to stream live to Facebook, you need to make sure that you allow live streaming of meetings, which you can do Facebook, YouTube, custom live streaming. You can allow those options on here. So that's an aspect. Again, if there's ever something that like I've gone over in this meeting and for some reason it's not showing up on your end or whatever it might be, and you're not seeing it, go to the meetings, go to the settings in your Zoom on your Zoom account, because that's most likely where it's gonna be, or that is where it's gonna be. So there's just a bunch there. So just wanted to kind of quickly run through those so that you guys could see those aspects and just kind of see that how it's all labeled in there. We talked about the polling your participants already. So you guys saw that earlier, an aspect of how we do the polling, which is a good aspect to keep in mind for anything that you want to use it for. And this is what it looked like on my end so that you guys can see. Like, are you finding this helpful? Multiple choice, like yes, no, somewhat. Launch the polling is what you'll select. So you'll click on polls here at the bottom, and then you'll click launch polling. Then you would, once you do that, you've created, yeah, so I already went over this, how you create it and such like that. Ooh, go back. And then once you select the launch polling, it literally right at the bottom right there, it says end polling, share polling, stop sharing, download. Like it's all right here at the bottom of this screen. Just to go back over, because I was kind of mentioning it here, but we also talked about in the Zoom class for basics, how you go and you save chat is you go to the in the corner, and then you save the chat. So you'll be able to see all the private messages to yourself from your participants if people are sending you private direct messages, and all the public messages as well. So that's a good aspect to keep in mind. And then the uploading of files and links. If you are the host, it's good to know that as well, because you can upload files for people. If you're working with a client or whatever it might be, you can go to the file button and select the file, share it with them directly through the Zoom. And then whenever you are posting links, make sure you include the HTTPS slash with the slashes, so that people can actually click through to your link and go to where you're talking about, if you're trying to direct someone to a website. I want to go over the sharing screen aspect, because some people get really confused with this, and there's actually two aspects that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to sharing the screen. So you can share your screen. If you have two screens, you can select which screen you want, or you can select a specific tab. We talked a little bit about this in the Zoom basics class, but there's also the option to go and share your iPhone if you have an iPhone or an iPad, which is kind of cool. Like if you're showing someone on Instagram or whatever it might be, if you're showing them something that needs to see. So you can see the share screen button here at the bottom is always going to be in green, no matter if you're on your phone or your computer, it's going to show as green. So make sure you guys are looking at that. You can select your whole screen, which it will show everything on your screen. I've had a couple of people reach out to me and say, oh, like if like I shared my screen and it had information up there that I didn't want to share with other people or whatever it might be very careful of like the things that are up on your computer before you share something. It's a good aspect to just keep in mind, but there are options that you can go to kind of keep in mind of that as well. Like you can actually select the direct page that you want to share. So if you want to share just your web browser, your email, or your Excel file or whatever, you can click on them specifically whenever it's highlighted in blue, and then you would click share. So there's two buttons. You click share screen, you select what you want to share, and then you have to click share again. People think for some reason at this point that as soon as they click on it that it's sharing, and it's not. And it will be very evident when it starts sharing your screen. If you want to share, like if you have two screens, like I do, I like having the two screen options when I'm hosting a Zoom. You can actually click on your full screen. You can click screen 1 or screen 2. It'll show up here if you have two screens. And that aspect, because sometimes people, when they only share one feature, sometimes they'll go back and forth and they'll be like, oh, like, yeah, I'm showing you this browser, this one tab, and then they'll be like, oh, and they'll try to like hop into something else and they think people can see it, but they can't. So that's one of kind of the downfalls of like sharing a specific browser or a specific application, because if you try to jump to something else, they're not going to be able to see it. So you have to be cognizant of that. As well as if you are sharing a video or something that has sound that you want to portray to them, you can go ahead and click at the bottom here, share computer sound, or optimize screen sharing for video clip. When you click and check mark these, and then you click share after, if that's what you're trying to do, so that they can hear your audio, or else it will not share your audio. That's an important aspect to remember as well. So sharing your iPhone or iPad, if you have an iPhone or iPad, is actually a cool feature that I think Zoom offers. When you click on that, so when you go to share screen and then you click on iPhone or iPad and you click share, it will pop up and it will say a plugin is required to share an iPhone or iPad. You just install it onto your computer. It literally takes 2 seconds. It's something you can do in the moment. And then you move forward and it will say on your iPhone or iPad, go to connect Wi-Fi network, make sure you're on the same Wi-Fi network as your computer. And then you tap the screen mirroring option that is in the left corner. If you pull down your right corner of your phone, here, I'll show you guys. You can see the screen mirroring option right there. So once you click on that, it'll show you what the name is, Zoom Lucie. You click on it and then it will start showing, it'll be screen mirroring. You click on it and then it starts sharing your screen and you'll see a little green, you'll start to see it on your computer. You'll see your phone on your computer and then you can navigate your phone just as you would. And then they can see everything that you're doing on your phone and you can stop the share and everything like that so that when you're done showing them. But it's a cool aspect to be able to show them something on your phone if you want to show them something. Maybe it's using your app or something like that or whatever it might be that you want to share with your clients. Or maybe how to access the MLS from their phone, whatever it might be. Are there any questions in regards to sharing your screen? Okay. So the virtual backgrounds, I know someone was asking about this earlier. It is not compatible with every computer. There are apps, we talked about this in the beginners Zoom class, but you can use ones that are provided to you or you can upload your own. I create them in Canva because Canva is amazing, highly recommend. And it gives you the pixels. You can even look up virtual Zoom background. It literally does it all for you in Canva by giving you the dimensions and such. There's even like layouts and stuff that it gives you. Highly recommend creating a virtual background that has your nice logo on it with your phone number and your email or whatever it might be. Don't make it too busy, but and be mindful of like where it is, like put it in the top right corner or the top left corner, but a great marketing aspect to keep in mind. And yeah. So when you're choosing, I'll go over that really quick just for you guys. You can see the stop video button. If you click on the little arrow in the top right corner, you can go to choose virtual background. Doesn't my face look so happy? I look so happy. You choose virtual background and then it brings you into your settings where you can select add an image or video. It's this button right here, the plus sign in the corner. It brings you into your settings of your Zoom, and then making sure that unless you have a green screen, make sure that this is not selected. Do not select you have a green screen unless you have a green screen. And when you select your image or video that you can add, or you can select one of the ones that they have or whatever it might be. And then if you show up like this, it's because of one of two options. You've either, I know I look really cool, I look like the world. It is either because you have selected I have a green screen or your computer is not compatible. And if your computer is not compatible, it will pop up and it will be like, your computer is not compatible. And be very wary, like pretty sure Chromebooks don't work. There's like operating systems that don't work with the Zoom background. So, you know, just a thing to keep in mind with those cheaper computers, that it might not be a feature that it offers. So those are the aspects of the a quick little overview of the virtual backgrounds. Are there any questions? Any questions of what we've gone over so far in general? Hopefully that answers everyone's questions. I don't know if, oh, okay. I think I was asking. All right. Thanks, Bettina. And yeah, so that was a class. We are going to have a little giveaway for those of you guys who are still here. Thank you guys so much for paying attention and being here with me through the craziness that my computer went through and your patience. You can find us on all social medias at Arrow Title Services, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We really try to be active on all those platforms. We even have Clubhouse that we're working on and everything like that, that I'm active on. And yeah, so we're on it in every single way. If you guys ever have any questions about social media and you want to ask me, I'm always available for you guys. I want to make sure that you guys are utilizing everything social media wise that you can to be impactful in your business. That's my whole goal for helping others is just to help you guys be successful. Whether that's, I've literally sat down with agents and don't feel like you're taking too much time from me, whatever like that. I literally say, like, we can set up your YouTube channel, we can set up your Instagram, make sure your Instagram and your Facebook are connected, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm here for you, whatever you need me for. And I will leave my information in the chat so that you have my direct number. It is my cell phone number. And a link to our YouTube channel, which is very beneficial to subscribe to and be a part of. All right, so let's go ahead. Bettina, I just put it in there. We messaged each other at the same time, so my email is right there. And yeah. Thank you guys again so much for being here. So we're gonna go ahead and do a little giveaway, and we'll do a Starbucks gift card. You can choose Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, whatever floats your fancy. And we're gonna do it number 1 through 50. Put it in the chat, and whoever's closest wins. Oh, well, I'm glad I was able to get back on here, because that would have been bad if my internet was out like for good. It felt so bad. I think we didn't really lose anyone either, so that's good. All right, we got 4 answers in. Anyone else want to pop in with a number? Oh, and I will stop recording now. Thank you for all of you who are rewatching this.